Have you ever had one of those days, or maybe weeks, where you feel like you're just running on a hamster wheel? You're constantly busy, but you're not actually getting anywhere important? Well, if that sounds familiar, this one's for you. We're about to completely rethink productivity, ditch the old to-do list and build something way better. It's a new way of thinking based on 3 pillars that really separate massive success from, well, failure. And it all starts with one question.
Right? We're all taught the same thing. Make a long to-do list, check everything off, and boom, that's a productive day. But what if that's a lie? What if that list is actually the very thing holding you back? What if it's just designed to make you feel busy instead of actually being effective?
Okay, to really get the first pillar of true productivity, we've got to jump in a time machine and go all the way back to 1876. A world-changing invention was up for grabs, and the entire thing, the fortune, the fame, everything, came down to just a few hours. This is all about timing. So picture this. It's February 14th. 2 different inventors send their lawyers to the patent office in Washington, D.C. One of them, representing a guy named Alexander Graham Bell, was in what the source material calls war mode. He knew what was at stake. He gets there before the office even opens and files that application the second they unlock the doors. But the other lawyer, for an inventor named Elisha, he was pretty chilled out. He figured, what's the rush, and decides to file it after he grabs a nice, leisurely lunch.
Now here's where it gets wild. Both of these guys were geniuses. In fact, a lot of people argued that Elisha Gray's design for the telephone was actually better. But guess what? It didn't matter one bit. Bell became a billionaire, founded AT&T, a household name. And Elisha Gray? Most people have never even heard of him. The difference wasn't the idea. It was the urgency on that one single day.
So, of course, this whole thing ends up in court. And when it does, the judge asks to see the patent office logbook for that day. A massive fortune, the entire future of communication, literally came down to this one number, 34. Bell's lawyer, the guy in war mode, had secured entry number 5 for the day. And Gray's lawyer, the one who went to lunch, he strolled in and got entry number 39. 34 little lines of ink in a book separated them. That's it. So that's our first pillar, timing. It's not just what you do, it's when you do it. But showing up early isn't the whole story. Which brings us to pillar number 2, energy. Because look, you can get to the patent office first, but if you don't have the intensity to actually follow through and win, it doesn't matter. Let's use an allegory. Imagine 2 guys, Rahul and Sumit, trapped in separate rooms. They're both told the same thing. Behind one of these 4 walls, there's a pile of gold. Break through it, and it's yours. So Rahul wakes up, has a nice breakfast, chills out for a bit, and then, feeling a little guilty, he kind of wanders over, grabs his axe, and starts half-heartedly tapping whichever wall is closest. He looks busy, but he's getting nowhere. Sumit, though, he's a completely different story.
Sumit wakes up and completely ignores the food. He knows his brain is at its sharpest the moment he wakes up. He goes to each wall, he taps them, he listens, and he finds the one that sounds different, the one hiding the gold. Then, and only then, he unleashes every ounce of his energy on that one target. He works with peak intensity, and then he rests. See the difference? Rahul used his leftover energy. Sumit used his best energy.
And this story isn't just a nice little fable, it's backed by science. Our bodies operate on what's called a circadian rhythm. For most of us, our cortisol levels, the hormone that drives focus and attention, are at their absolute peak in the morning and then slowly drop off all day. Sumit got this. He used his peak biological state for his most important task. Rahul, he wasted his best hours on breakfast.
So we have timing, we have energy, but that brings us to the third and honestly the most important pillar of them all, the one that rules everything else, direction. Because you can show up early and you can swing that axe with all your might, but if you're hitting the wrong wall, you are never, ever going to find that gold.
I mean, really think about that for a second. We live in this world that celebrates hustle culture, right? Just pure effort. But what if that's a total distraction? What if choosing the right thing to work on is 100 times more important than how hard you work on it? The story of this French mathematician, Urbain Le Verrier, is the perfect example. His career is just this incredible case study in both the amazing success of getting the direction right and the crushing failure of getting it wrong.
So Le Verrier becomes this global celebrity because he predicts the exact location of a new planet, Neptune, using nothing but a pen and paper, an unbelievable triumph of correct direction. But then he tries to do it again. He notices the planet Mercury has a weird wobble in its orbit and spends the rest of his life chasing a ghost planet he named Vulcan that he thought was causing it. He died chasing it. but he was directionally wrong. There was no planet. The wobble was because the physics he was using was flawed, something Einstein later fixed.
And Leverrier's mistake isn't just some dusty old story. This exact same misjudgment, this failure of direction, has brought down some of the biggest companies you can imagine. They had all the timing, all the energy, all the resources in the world, but they were pointed squarely at the wrong wall.
I mean, Kodak literally invented the digital camera, and then they buried the technology because they wanted to protect their film business. Completely wrong direction, and we all know what happened. And Blockbuster? They had the chance to pivot to the internet, but they actually fired the CEO who suggested it. They were busy hitting the video rental wall while Netflix was quietly building a brand new door called streaming.
This really brings it all home to a personal level. The source tells a great story about a friend who was pouring every bit of his energy into his small shop. He'd also inherited some land out in the country, but he saw it as a distraction. So when somebody offered to buy it, he took the deal without even thinking, just so he could get back to his real work. But he forgot one very, very simple calculation.
That piece of land was worth 100 times what he sold it for. 100 times! That one single decision about the property would have had a bigger impact on his entire life than 1,000 years of running his shop. He was spending all his energy on the wrong wall. He completely missed his gold pod.
Okay, so how do we avoid these traps? How do we stop wasting our time and energy on the wrong things? How do we finally trade that endless, useless to-do list for our own gold pot? Well, it all comes down to putting these 3 pillars together into a simple framework. First things first, you have to actually define your gold pot. And I'm not talking about answer emails or go to the gym. Your to-do list is full of that stuff. No. This is the 1 or 2 big picture things that, if you actually do them, will completely change the game for you. What is that one single project or decision that really matters?
So here it is. This is the algorithm that replaces your to-do list. Number 1, direction. Figure out your gold pot. What is the right wall to hit? Number 2, timing. Attack that thing first thing in the morning. Be Bell's lawyer, not Gray's. Make it entry number 5. And third, energy. Hit that wall with your absolute peak mental and physical state, not with what's left over after you've scrolled through social media for an hour. This is how you stop being busy and you finally start being effective.
So we've walked through the stories, we've looked at the science, you now have the framework. The only question left is the one that really truly matters. Take a look at your own life, your career, your goals. What is the right wall for you?